What's up, y'all, and welcome to 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. It wasn't the prettiest win, but we got the win over the Green Bay Packers. We'll recap that game, discuss some sideline and in the stands action, as well as preview the divisional card matchup versus the LA Rams. Without wasting any time, let's dive right into the scoring recap of that wildcard win. Not even 2 minutes into the first quarter after a fumble recovery by the Birds on the opening kickoff, Jalen Hurts fires a laser nearly 7 seconds after the snap to Jahan Dotson for the first touchdown of the game. Eagles up 7-0. Near the end of the quarter, Jake Elliott would extend the lead with a 31-yard field goal to put the Birds up 10-0. With no scores occurring in the second quarter, the Packers finally get on the board with under 6 minutes left in the quarter with a Brandon McManus field goal. Eagles 10, Packers 3. With under 3.5 minutes left from just outside the red zone, Hurts steps back and fires a quick pass to Dallas Goedert, who stiffs-armed the same man 3 times for a 24-yard touchdown. However, the point after is no good. Eagles 16, Packers 3. 4 seconds into the fourth quarter, after a big run from Josh Jacobs, just before the end of the third, he finally gets into the end zone for a 1-yard rushing touchdown. Eagles 16, Packers 10. At about the 7.5 minute mark and close to the 3-minute mark, Jake Elliott would kick 2 field goals and end the game with a final score 22-10. Jalen Hurts would finish 13 for 21 for 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 turnovers. Saquon Barkley would finish with 25 carries for 119 yards. Our 2 touchdown scorers, Jahan Dotson, had 1 catch for 11 yards, and Dallas Goedert had 4 catches for 47 yards. All right, before we discuss this wildcard game, let's go into some Eagles news, starting with the next round of playoffs is set, and for our Birds, they will host the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday, January 19th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. Additionally, this win did not come without a price, as Eagles linebacker Nakobe Dean suffered a torn patellar tendon against the Packers and will miss the rest of the postseason, as well as likely some of the 2025 season. We hope his recovery goes exceptionally well, and to aid in this linebacker depth, the Eagles have re-signed a familiar face in Nicholas Morrow to our practice squad. While the defense was on the field in around the fourth quarter, A.J. Brown was spotted reading a book called Inner Excellence: Train Your Mind for Extraordinary Performance and the Best Possible Life by Jim Murphy on the sideline. And since then, the book has skyrocketed, becoming the #1 bestseller / hottest seller on Amazon right now, going up 53 million%. I shit you not, 53 million%. So if you ever need a book promoted, just call up AJ Brown. But for real, I love that people, including AJ, are having fun with this whole thing. I mean, how can you hate a guy reading a self-help book? Also, I love how Nick Sirianni had AJ's back, stating that he's reading on the sideline across all the games, regardless of how well or bad he's doing. And he's calling out lazy media for not doing research before jumping to a conclusion about AJ Brown. What? Media members jumping to conclusions about AJ Brown? This is unheard of. I hope y'all know that was some extreme sarcasm right there. And finally, while that was happening on the sidelines, something kind of vile was happening in the stands. So many of y'all probably seen this by now, but for those who haven't, a video went viral from a Packers fan who filmed himself and his fiance, also a Packers fan, in the stands of the wildcard game, being verbally berated by a middle-aged gentleman who the Eagles and other NFL fans have scoured the internet to find, identifying him as Ryan Caldwell. In the video, you can see Caldwell, while not being provoked, berating the couple and calling the woman a dumb, ugly, see you next Tuesday. Hopefully you can put together what see you next Tuesday is. You do the math. Anyway, it's gone viral and only adds more fuel to the fire of the terrible reputation that Eagles fans have. Now, listen, I am all for bantering and bullshit, mutual trash talking, stuff like that, and can recognize when things get too far, and I myself try not to go beyond any personal boundaries like that. It's one thing to banter and to trash talk while sharing a brew and enjoying the game. But what Caldwell did is not fun for anyone. It's completely out of line. It's disrespectful. It's just fucking immature, dude. Like, grow the fuck up. You're a grown-ass man, at the very least in his mid to late 40s, just ruining the football fan experience for this young couple. I don't care if they were fans of the opposing team. You should not make anyone feel like that. They paid just as much money, maybe even a little more, little less, really depending on where you bought the tickets from. But anyway, to watch the game and have fun. And Caldwell, you fucked it up for them. You're a grown-ass man. Shut the fuck up and watch the game without ruining it for people. This type of shit is why the rest of the league hates us Eagles fans. It's one thing to embrace the no one likes us, we don't care mentality that us Eagles fans have. But what Caldwell did was not that. It was just plain assault. Don't get me wrong. I know there's shitty fans across the entire league. Hell, in week 1, you had Packers fans DMing horrible things to Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter after his clean tackle ended up unintentionally injuring Jordan Love, to which he reached out on social media wishing him a smooth recovery. Photo evidence from the DMs shows Packers fans calling him things such as a dirty player, telling him fuck you, to absolutely disgusting things, including one fan of the Packers who wished Jalen Carter broke his neck, and another Packers fan wishing death upon him while calling him the N-word. So Packers fans, don't act like y'all are an innocent fan base either, because you're not. I know we aren't. Everyone tells us that all the time. The rest of the league's fans just can't go a day without telling us about Eagles fans like that. But anyway, I digress. All over the internet, thousands of Eagles fans are condemning Caldwell's actions, and honestly, so am I. If you're going to make someone feel like that at one game, I can't imagine how Caldwell has made others feel at past games or would do so in future games. And personally, I don't think he should be able to set foot in the link anymore. Not only does it continue to add to the narrative that Eagles fans are shitty, but it's just not a fun thing to experience and does not represent what it means to be an Eagles fan. I've been an Eagles fan my whole life, and I've been raised as an Eagles fan, seeing numerous positive experiences. Being an Eagles fan is honestly one of the greatest feelings on earth. Being with other Eagles fans just makes for a fun, sentimental time. The team's Autism Charity Foundation hits close to home. I could not imagine being a fan of another team the way I am about the Eagles. But people like Caldwell just ruin it. They ruin the reputation, they ruin the experience, and the overall atmosphere of what it's like to be an Eagles fan. We do not claim that man, and honestly, I hope those Packers fans are doing well after the experience, because they didn't deserve that from a shitty dude. To add on to this, there was an update on Tuesday. Apparently, Big Dom found out the dude's identity, as well as the identity of the people involved in the video, the Packers fans. And Big Dom and the organization are not only sending the female Packer fans some Packers gear as an apology, but also Caldwell has received a lifetime ban from home games. And good. We don't need that kind of negative energy in our fan base. Even if this whole filming thing was like some weird stunt by the Packers fan, there's a lot of questions circulating around that. Why did that Packers fan not defend his fiance? Why was there a GoFundMe set up to go buy a GoPro specifically for this game? Was this, clickbait for likes? Whatever the case may be, what the dude Caldwell did is not called for. Shouldn't happen. We shouldn't do that as fans. We got to be better than that. We just got to shut up and enjoy the game just like everyone else should. All right, going on to some discussions, opinions, and overreactions from this wild card win, starting with the offense. Now, for an offense that hasn't had their starting quarterback able to play in over 3 weeks, they didn't do a terrible job. They did the most important thing you need to do in the playoffs, which is fucking win. And that's what Jalen Hurts and this offense can and has done throughout the year. Yeah, 13 for 21 for 131 yards passing. Sure, they're not the biggest numbers. But he threw 2 touchdowns and did not turn the ball over. He played a little more conservatively and maybe held on to the ball for a little too long, which is an issue we've seen before. But again, the man hasn't played for 3 weeks, got released from concussion protocol like 2 days before the game, and probably the biggest thing, still did not turn the ball over against the Packers. A very noteworthy thing considering the amount of turnovers he had in week 1. Those 2 interceptions and the 1 lost fumble. Yet a lot of the media is criticizing his performance. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Let's look at some of the other quarterbacks that performed in the wild card weekend, starting with the most recent of those games, where Sam Darnold went 25 for 40, only 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception, and 1 lost fumble. Then you had Jordan Love, who went 20 for 33 for 212 yards, no touchdown passes, to 3 interceptions. Then you had probably the worst performance of all. You had Justin Herbert, who went 14 for 32 for 242 yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 4 interceptions. Yeah, 4 interceptions. Jordan Love and Justin Herbert played like absolute fucking dog shit, yet Jalen Hurts is the bad quarterback in all this? Make it make sense. No, you can't, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. In addition to his performance, you also got Jalen Hurts, a quarterback, mind you, stepping up to a 6'4", 331-pound defensive lineman in TJ Slayton, getting the ball in his face after Slayton had a late hit on Saquon Barkley. If there are any issues concerning Jalen Hurts and the locker room, because the media likes to blow shit like that out of proportion, him defending Barkley like that should be enough to squash that bullshit. Is there work to be done? Yes, mainly with the passing, but I feel like we'll get better as we go later into the playoffs. Did Jalen have a bad game and deserve a lot of criticism? No. He got the job done, and he'll help get the job done on Sunday too. All right, moving on to the defense. They were electric. 4 total turnovers, which were 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery on the opening kickoff. Just another lights out performance by this defense. Zach Bond and Darius Slay made killer interceptions, and you got Quinyon Mitchell getting his first career interception, essentially to ice the game. Yes, the Packers were without Christian Watson to start the game, and then lost a couple guys later in the second half. But at the same time, our offense was playing as a full, complete unit for the first time since December 22nd. So there's, some things going on with both sides of the ball. Anyway, they picked off Jordan Love, who a lot of analysts continue to rave about, 3 times. Not easy for any defense to do. Nolan Smith, this man has come a long way and was electric in this game. 8 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hits. This guy is one of the guys who are the future of this team's defense, and it's been amazing to see his journey so far. He had an awesome night. Then you had Reed Blankenship leading the team in tackles, Zach Bond putting up another stellar performance with 8 total tackles, a pass deflection, and an interception. Just another great overall defensive turnout, holding a top 5 offense to just 10 points. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and preview this divisional round matchup. The Eagles get to remain at the link, this time hosting the Los Angeles Rams after they beat the Minnesota Vikings this past Monday night. The weather is looking to be a cold and rainy one, something the Rams aren't too familiar with. Injuries will impact both sides of the ball, but here's what I think Philly needs to do to put up a win on Sunday. Starting with the offensive side of the ball, you got to get something going in the passing game. I'm not sure what was up with Kellen Moore's play calling. It seemed a little too conservative and predictable than I would have liked it to be. But that could be mainly because he had to get some rust off of Jalen Hurts after missing 3 weeks of action. But that Rams front four, they can be dangerous in the run or the pass rush despite their run defense being ranked in the 20s. So, we got to diversify our pass play calling and our overall play calling because the lack of passing numbers necessarily wasn't a player error type of thing. I believe it was more conservative play calling. But we definitely need to increase effective pass play calling, and I think Kellen Moore knows that too. I have a feeling that we'll see a big game from our receivers this time, if the weather isn't too bad. As for Jalen, he's got to get rid of that ball quicker. I know I've been saying this forever, but it's still relevant that he has to get that ball out a lot quicker than he is. Sam Darnold was sacked a whopping 9 times by the Rams last week. I know he's not a dynamic dual-threat quarterback like Jalen Hurts is, but Jalen does have a tendency to sit in the pocket longer than loose change, so he's got to be quicker with the decision-making and getting rid of the ball this week. Our run game is still as strong as ever, so I'm pretty confident in our abilities in that area. Shifting over back to the defense, that front four has to be just as, if not more aggressive than they were against Green Bay, and we got to get some blitzes going from Vic Fangio. I know he's not much of a blitzer, but we got to get things going against this Rams team in particular. Matthew Stafford has only taken 4 sacks across the last 6 games, and the Eagles are notorious for not being the biggest in blitzing. And now with Nakobe Dean out, we have to catch them off guard somehow. We got to send Bond or Burks on a blitz. Hell, we could send Cooper DeJean on a nickel blitz, but we got to get something going with the blitzing game in this one. The Rams have great receivers in Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. However, we have great corners in Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay, both of whom are coming off a game with an interception each. The Rams relied a lot on Tyler Higbee in the passing game. I think he was their leading receiver in that game against the Vikings. But now he's banged up, dealing with a pretty serious sounding chest injury. Not sure if he's going to partake in this game on Sunday. But regardless, I can see Cooper Kupp potentially getting more targets than he did against Minnesota. I only think he got like maybe 1 or 2 targets, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something our defense has to be mindful of going into this game. Additionally, and this is a big one, we need to play cool, calm, collected, and clean football. The officiating crew that we're supposed to have for this game has not been well for Philly. Apparently, with Sean Smith, since 2003, the Birds are 0-3 with him officiating. So we're looking to change that narrative in this game. This is also the same ref that ejected C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Week 16 game after he got punched. Yeah, this ref ejected a player who got punched, not the player that did the punching, which would have made sense. But anyway, just based upon the recent history of this officiating crew, we basically got to be on our best behavior. You know, no stupid mistakes, no mouthing off or fighting, just clean but aggressive football so we don't shoot ourselves in the foot because of a flag-happy officiating crew. All right, let's end this episode with some predictions of this game. Now, I'm predicting a closer game with this one. My heart is leaning 28-23 with a Philly win and going on to the NFC Championship. I see Saquon getting into the end zone this time. He's due for one in the playoffs. Maybe even Kenny Gainwell sneaking a touchdown in there, especially if we do end up having to rely on our run game more with the potential weather issues. If weather is not an issue and we are passing more, I could see AJ having a total 360 from this wildcard game and putting up 2 touchdowns himself. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow us on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok while we still have it by searching at 2nd and 15. That's 2NDAND15, or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode, releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts. This episode, 2nd and 15, and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Use promo code OCSN at righteousfelon.com for 15% off the best jerky around. They got awesome flavors like Soul Survivor, OG Hickory, Darth Garlic, Teriyaki Balboa, and more. Any orders over $50 will get free shipping. We're also brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Use promo code OLDSPORTS at warlordbeardoil.com for 15% off your beard products, washes, whatever you need. Orders over $75 will get you free shipping. We're also brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the app and use promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. We also got some local sponsors, including Robert Hangholt Construction. If you are in the greater Philadelphia region and you have a house project coming up, something with your siding, your windows, you need roof repairs, something with your deck as the weather gets warmer here pretty soon, call the number one contractor in the area at 610-348-1066 for a free estimate today. We're also brought to you by Decals by Aaron. Head on over to decalsbyaaron.com for all your Delco products and merchandise, your number one spot for everything Delco. And finally, check out Iron and Steel Threads. Use promo code OldCity10 at ironsteelthreads.com for 10% off the entire site, and a portion of the proceeds go to youth hockey organizations. And then don't also forget to go check out oldcitysports.com so you can get some awesome merch from our merch store. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Old City Sports Network. We'll see y'all next week. And don't forget to tune into the divisional game, which again is this Sunday, January 19th at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Have a safe and fun weekend. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle. And as always, go Birds!